Let me tell you what happened last week. I opened my phone just to check one notification. Just one. That's it. Before I knew it, 2 hours had passed. I had watched dozens of videos, liked random posts, laughed at some memes, and even argued in a comment thread I don't even remember anymore. I closed the app feeling drained, and honestly, a little guilty. The worst part? I couldn't even recall what I had seen. I thought it was just me. Maybe I lacked willpower or discipline. But then I dug deeper and discovered something shocking. It's not my fault. It's not your fault either. The apps you use every day are built to capture your mind. They've studied your behavior, mapped your habits, and designed experiences so immersive that escaping them feels impossible. This rabbit hole, it goes much deeper than most people realize. And today we're pulling back the curtain. Your brain is a highly complex and adaptive machine. It's always learning, always rewiring. And when you use social media, it starts forming a loop, a feedback cycle that centers around one key chemical, dopamine. Dopamine is your brain's reward messenger. It's released when you experience pleasure, accomplish a task, or receive validation. Now think about what happens when you get a like, or when a comment shows up, or when a new notification appears on your lock screen. Each of these triggers a small dopamine hit. But here's the catch. Your brain starts chasing that hit again and again. This cycle is intensified by something called a variable reward schedule. The same trick used in slot machines. You don't know what you'll get when you open the app. Could be exciting, could be boring, but your brain keeps checking, just in case. And slowly this rewiring changes how you think, how you feel, and even how you make decisions. We often think of social media as free to use, free to enjoy. But that couldn't be further from the truth. When something is free, it usually means you are the product. Social media platforms make money from attention, your attention. Every second you spend on a screen is tracked, measured, and sold to advertisers. Your clicks, your scrolls, your pauses, these are all signals used to understand what grabs you. The more time you spend, the more data they gather. The more data they gather, the more personalized and irresistible your feed becomes. This isn't casual, it's strategic. Social apps aren't just social anymore. They're part of a larger attention economy where the goal isn't just to inform or entertain you. The goal is to keep you hooked, to predict your behavior better than you can. You're not scrolling randomly, you're being guided, nudged toward content that activates strong reactions, even outrage or confusion. Why? Because those emotions keep you scrolling longer, and the longer you stay, the more valuable you become. Have you ever read a paragraph and then immediately forgotten what you just read? Or walked into a room only to ask, wait, what was I doing again? That's not just forgetfulness. It might be your attention span reacting to constant digital stimulation. Social media encourages fast consumption, short clips, bite-sized texts, endless swiping. Your brain adapts by becoming really good at skimming, but really bad at deep thinking. It's like training a muscle only for quick sprints and then asking it to run a marathon. This also affects memory. Since your brain is constantly jumping from one post to another, it struggles to commit anything meaningful to long-term memory. Information comes in fast, but doesn't settle. This is why many people feel mentally exhausted after a long scroll session, even if they didn't do anything physically tiring. And when you're constantly multitasking, checking your phone while watching a show, replying to messages during work, your brain splits its focus. The illusion of productivity increases, but actual focus and recall decrease. Let's talk about mirrors, the digital kind. Every time you go online, you're not just looking at others. You're also seeing a reflection of what you think you should be. Perfect photos, highlight reels, luxury lifestyles, flawless bodies, endless achievements. And suddenly, without even realizing it, you start to compare. Why don't I have that house, that body, that relationship, those results? What you're seeing isn't real life. It's a curated version of someone else's best moments. But your brain doesn't always make that distinction. It just sees what it lacks. And over time, this can quietly shape your self-worth. This constant comparison can create what psychologists call self-discrepancy, the painful gap between who you are and who you think you should be. And the more time you spend online, the more that gap can grow. You might find yourself chasing validation through filters, likes, or constant updates. And even if you get approval, it never feels like enough, because the standard keeps shifting. The apps you use weren't just built, they were engineered. Entire teams of behavioral scientists, UX designers, and tech experts work together to create platforms that feel good enough to be addictive. Ever wonder why videos autoplay automatically? Or why does your feed never end? That's an infinite scroll. There's no natural stopping point, no moment where your brain says, okay, we're done. It just keeps going. And those red notification bubbles? They're not red by accident. Red creates urgency. It pulls your attention. Even the placement of buttons is optimized to make you tap more. One of the most subtle tricks is unpredictability. You don't know what the next post will be. Funny, shocking, emotional, outrageous. That randomness keeps you engaged, like pulling a lever on a slot machine. These design choices aren't neutral. They're calculated to keep you online longer than you intended and make you come back more often than you planned. When your brain is constantly bombarded with notifications, comparisons, and rapid-fire content, something starts to shift deep inside, something most people never notice until it becomes overwhelming. You may feel mentally tired, emotionally disconnected, or like you're running on autopilot. These aren't random feelings. They're symptoms of overstimulation, and they're becoming alarmingly common. Imagine this: you're feeling down, so you reach for your phone, you scroll, hoping something will lift your mood. But 20 minutes later, you feel even worse. That's not coincidence, it's neurological. Your brain isn't getting the real rest or fulfillment it craves. Instead, it's stuck in a loop of empty input. Studies have linked excessive screen time, especially social media usage, with increased stress, irritability, and emotional instability. For teens and young adults who are still forming their sense of identity and self-worth, this constant stream of filtered content can distort reality. It becomes harder to tell what's real and what's manufactured. And it's not just about what you see, it's about what you don't do while scrolling. You're not exercising, reflecting, connecting deeply, or even letting your mind wander. All of these are critical for emotional regulation. When those are replaced with passive consumption, your emotional resilience starts to weaken. Sleep is another casualty. The blue light from screens interferes with melatonin production, delaying your natural sleep cycle. But even more damaging is the mental clutter you carry into bed. Your brain never fully winds down. It's still processing the hundreds of images, messages, and emotional triggers it absorbed during the day. The paradox is painful. We're more connected than ever, yet lonelier than we've ever been. And that's not because we don't have people. It's because we lack presence. Presence requires time, quiet, and meaningful interaction. Social media, by design, often replaces those things with stimulation that feels social but lacks true connection. If you've felt foggy, drained, or unmotivated lately, it may not be a lack of ambition. It might just be your mind crying out for rest. But here's the good news. The moment you become aware of the cost, you can start to change it. Awareness is the first reset button, and the rest begins with simple, intentional action. Reclaiming your brain doesn't mean giving up technology. It means changing your relationship with it, shifting from being controlled to being in control. And while that might sound like a massive undertaking, it really begins with a few small, conscious steps. Start with your environment. Turn off non-essential notifications. That red bubble or vibrating buzz isn't urgent. It's a trigger. It pulls you in before you even have a chance to think. When you remove that stimulus, you give your brain space to breathe. You stop reacting and start deciding. Next, protect your mornings and nights. These are the two most vulnerable times for your brain. Instead of reaching for your phone the moment you wake up, try setting a no-scroll rule for the first 30 minutes. Give your mind a chance to boot up slowly. Do the same before bed. Trade late-night scrolling for journaling, light reading, or just sitting with your thoughts. You'll notice your sleep improves and your anxiety lessens. One powerful practice is to schedule scroll-free hours into your day. Treat them like appointments. During that time, put your phone in another room or use apps that lock distracting platforms. Even 1 hour of tech-free time each day can dramatically restore your focus and creativity. Another life-changing shift? Replace passive consumption with active creation. Instead of watching endless videos, try filming one. Instead of reading every opinion online, write your own. Creating forces your brain to engage. It builds confidence, clarity, and a stronger sense of identity. Also, try introducing dopamine reset activities into your routine. Go for a walk without your phone. Sit in silence for 10 minutes. Do something mildly boring on purpose. Yes, seriously. These acts recondition your brain to find joy and calm rather than chaos. Over time, your baseline happiness resets. Social media isn't bad in itself. The danger lies in mindless use. When you scroll without intention, you surrender your awareness. But when you become intentional, every scroll becomes a choice, not a compulsion. And if you slip, that's okay. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Every time you put your phone down to engage with the real world, you take back a little piece of your attention, your energy, and your clarity. Reclaiming your brain is less about deleting everything and more about remembering who's in charge. It's about creating distance from the noise so you can hear your own voice again. So start small. Pick one practice today. Test it for a week, notice how you feel, and then build from there. You don't need to break up with your phone. You just need to rebuild the relationship on your terms. Your brain is the most valuable real estate in the world right now. Everyone's trying to get a piece of it. Apps, brands, ads, trends, but it still belongs to you. And if you don't guard it, someone else will shape it for their benefit. Ask yourself this: the next time you pick up your phone, are you choosing to scroll, or is the scroll choosing you? If this video made you think differently about your habits, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone you care about. Leave a comment and tell me, what's the one social media habit you're trying to change? And if you're ready to go deeper into how your mind works, hit that subscribe button. There's a whole world inside your brain, and you deserve to understand it.